One Piece Treasure Cruise has had its fair share of premium summonable characters, with a new one dropping every single week. With this many characters to choose to build a team with, how do we determine which is the best character to use? It can come down to various factors, such as how much damage they can give to your crew, or how they can handle certain debuffs, or how they could potentially generate matching slots for your crew. These are all important in One Piece Treasure Cruise, but what if I told you that there was a singular character that could fulfill every single role on your team? This is exactly what happened on the 26th of December 2023 during the Land of Wano Upheaval and Fierce Battles Super Sugo Fest, where they debuted the best Sugo Fest exclusive character the game has seen, and that character is Zoro and Sanji. But what exactly makes them good? Yes, they can provide good damage output and they're a great support for your team, but what do they actually do? Well, let's start with the fact that they're a double character. This allows the player to switch between both Zoro and Sanji characters throughout the quest. Every time a player switches between characters, a unique ability activates that will change adjacent slots into tandem and boost crew's attack and slot effects by 1.3 times for one turn, and that effect can be overwritten, which isn't really important in this time here. So this means that every single turn you can go ahead and switch between the two characters of Zoro and Sanji to get half of your crew matching slots, as well as boosting those matching tandem slots and boosting your crew's attack by 30%. These beneficial effects are capable of being overwritten, which can benefit characters with reduced redundancy specials, which is just one layer of synergistic abilities this character possesses. On top of the fact that they are generating tandem slots every single turn, you are enabling the potential super tandem abilities that may be available on your crew. However, after 7 switches, their next following switch effect will become a super switch effect, which is supported by a slick animation that buffs the pre-existing switch effect into something stronger. The upgraded switch effect will now go ahead and change all crew slots, including block slots, into tandem, and boosting the crew's attack and slot effects by 2.25 times for one turn, which also can be overwritten, as well as combining into their dual form, Zoro and Sanji, for 3 turns. Now boasting the ability to change everyone's slot into tandem, which goes very well with the character, as this character does have a super tandem ability, on top of the fact that the attack and or boost that this character provides is also going to be upgraded, as well as combining into their dual form for 3 turns. This character has arguably one of the best switch abilities and super switch abilities in the game, generating matching slots, attack and or boost every single turn, and we haven't even discussed their special ability yet. So moving on to the special ability, it is a little complex because while they're in their solo form, both Zoro and Sanji do have slightly different effects in their specials, where Zoro has the ability to remove 7 turns of enemy defense up, whereas Sanji has the ability to remove 7 turns of threshold damage reduction, on top of some other abilities. But where their special shines is when they combine into their dual form via their previously mentioned super switch ability. Their special ability just does so many things, it's hard to even fathom what they were thinking when they were originally designing this character. First of which, the special will initially deal 300 times their attack in non-type damage to all enemies, which ignores all defensive effects and defense. Damage dealing specials can assist in triggering powerful support effects, such as the following unity. You've got Opera Otama, Hody and Vanderdeck and Fujitora, Halloween Mihawk, Film Red Frankie, and the more powerful support rare recruit Int Koshiro. But also the fact that this is counted as a Zoro and a Sanji character, the pool of accessible support characters is actually quite significant. This special also continues with reducing all enemies' threshold damage reduction and defense up by 7 turns, just a fantastic piece of utility to deal with pesky enemy defensive effects. Furthermore, they also will further increase your crew's attack and slot effect boost by plus 0.5, and also boosting the chain multiplier by 1.75 times, and plus 2.0 for one turn. Remember their switch ability from earlier that gives you a 2.25 times attack and slot effect boost? Well, scratch that, it's actually a 2.75 times boost instead. But hey, if you have a more significant attack or slot effect boost from another character on your crew, simply use that special first, and then use Zoro and Sanji's special ability to buff that pre-existing effect by plus 0.5. On top of that, providing that 1.75 times chain multiplicative buff, to this day is still like the second best multiplicative chain buff you can get in the game. The only character that would exceed that is the Versus Eustace Kid legend, which, I mean, to be honest, doesn't really see any meaningful play anyway. But wait, what is that right there? There's another icon that Zoro and Sanji have also provided with their special ability. Well, this is probably the most significant reason as to why this character is as good as I'm telling you. The final effect in their special warped the way that people build teams for high damage content in One Piece Treasure Cruise, and this final ability states that if you have a slasher or a free spirit captain, then it's going to change the first class to slasher and the second class to free spirit for all characters for 3 turns. We have actually had a class changing character before, but that was Mr. 2 Bon Clay, and unfortunately it was only just for himself only. But having a character that can change both classes of all characters for 3 turns, being able to carry it through multiple stages and even going through enemy preemptive attacks is absurdly powerful. I know that some of you are probably asking, what makes the difference? What's so good about changing, the classes of all of your characters? It makes all the difference, and it is the true reason as to why this character is absurdly broken and why people have been able to come up with some of the most absurd teams in One Piece Treasure Cruise history. Let's go ahead and take a deep dive into just one example as to how Zoro and Sanji absolutely break the game. So now that we've hopped in game, let's go ahead and take an in-depth look at this team here. At first glance, it doesn't look great and synergize that well. Some special abilities won't even work properly as certain class requirements aren't met, or the fact that some specials won't even boost the characters on the team. Let's break down the absurd damage of this team and why it is one of the best teams ever created in One Piece Treasure Cruise. This is where the greatness of Zoro and Sanji shines. Our first step would be to go ahead and activate Luffy's Versus effect, which provides a 1.75 times increased damage taken buff, as well as the Shanks Versus effect, which applies a 1.3 times weakness debuff on the enemy, which is actually enhanced to 1.69 times due to the presence of Luffy's Versus effect being activated. Our next step would be to activate Yamato's Super Switch ability and the Yamato Special, which provides a large 3 times color affinity boost, some removal of enemy defensive effects as well that actually synergizes perfectly with Zoro and Sanji's ability, as well as applying some resistance down for your slasher characters, and even buffing Luffy's increased damage taken. Her EX Super can also be used to further increase the damage reduction for your crew, which is going to help you with your final tap damage. Next, after activating Ace's special ability, it's going to provide you with a 4 times slot effect boost, as well as some helpful utility to navigate around enemy gimmicks, as well as multiplying the color affinity boost from the previously activated Yamato special by 1.5 times to scale it all the way up to over a 4 times color affinity boost. And this is where we can activate our man Zoro and Sanji. We know what he does at this point, as well as their super switch ability, providing you with an attack boost, a slot effect boost, chain multiplicative buff, chain addition, a full board of tandem slots, as well as everyone on your crew becoming a slasher and a free spirit character, which now allows the captain abilities of both Yamato, boosting slashes, and Ace, boosting free spirit, to actually boost all characters completely on the crew. At this point, we can activate our Cross Guild special, which allows us to get a 2 times set target status ability, essentially doubling the damage that our slasher and our driven characters are doing for this turn. Our next step would be to activate our Shanks special, which provides us with double stacking conditional boosts as well as providing a conditional boost. And then we also have Luffy's special ability, providing a secondary conditional boost, both of which have been activated via their Versus ability. On top of this, they also provide a territory buff. Shanks gives us a slasher territory, Luffy gives us a free spirit territory. Doesn't really matter which one's active because all of our team is either slasher or free spirit, which is a further 25% damage increase. And then to finish things up, we can use the Ace EX Super to also give Superclass Free Spirit, which gives us a further 25% stat bonus to all of our Free Spirit characters for the turn. With all of this in mind, this is what our current setup looks like in terms of the modifiers on the team and the enemies after activating all appropriate effects. As we can see, if we multiply all of these enemy abilities together, the enemy is actually going to be taking almost 12 times additional damage just because of all of these effects on the enemy themselves, as well as accounting for all of the abilities on our crew. I'm not even going to calculate all of this because you have to take the chain multiplier into account, but let's just say it's going to be a lot of damage, as well as the fact that the final tap is going to be enhanced by a further 115% via the abilities from the Yamato Captain effect. So as you can see, even without performing any taps, so far this is already going to be some absurd damage output. Just hold up a second though, we're not even done yet. We can now perform our normal attacks, and it's going to enhance our damage even more via the potential abilities on the crew. You can perform Rush Sugo Special with either Cross Guild or Podcast D Ace, depending on your investments. Either of them are going to work well, one boosting Slasher, one boosting Free Spirit. Take your pick depending on your investments, of course. And this is going to add significant damage, not only to just giving you a Rush attack boost, but also a Chain Multiplier boost as well. Zora and Sanji tie this whole team together with the ability to perform Super Tandem. Now that we have a full board of tandem slots, we can trigger this by attacking with Luffy, Zora and Sanji, and Yamato chaining together, which provides the team with a 2.5 times tandem attack boost to your Slashers and Free Spirit characters for one turn, as well as changing the attack multiplier of the following slots into 2.75 for one turn. Typically, the tandem slot only gives you a 2 times attack boost. However, with the super tandem performed, it's going to enhance that multiplier of the slot that they are generating for the crew by a significant margin. Just absolutely absurd. And of course, we have Yamato for the final tap, which is going to enhance your damage by a very large margin, providing up to a 2.4 times damage increase due to the damage reduction on the crew, on top of the final tap bonus damage, which is another 115% bonus damage on top. Yamato is one of the singular hardest hitting characters in the entire game. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand the pure damage this team is outputting, on top of all of the gimmick removals that you're also performing. And heck, we're not even talking about support effects either, which can also enhance the way that you can deal with enemy gimmicks. If the damage cap was not present in One Piece Treasure Cruise, this team would be able to output tens of trillions of damage. Like, it's absurd the stuff that this team is capable of doing. And this is just one example of how Zora and Sanji breaks the game, because if it wasn't for Zora and Sanji having the capability of transforming everyone into Slasher Free Spirit, this team wouldn't be possible. Heck, even when you're not building for a Super Boss Kizuna team, you can put Zora and Sanji on any squad to provide you with that attack and orb boost, matching slots every single turn, that special that provides you with removing enemy defensive effects, as well as buffing any pre-existing attack and orb boost. There's so many use cases for a character such as this. We also mentioned about all of the amazing support characters that can attach to this character. There's just a small pool that we talked about in today's video, but it's an endless pool of characters that this character has at their disposal. So with all of this is why I truly believe that Zora and Sanji are the best character ever created in One Piece Treasure Cruise history. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one down below in the comment section. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.